There's a decent bit of housekeeping to do before we start. There are many of you who, I like the fact that many of you are still subscribed, okay? But there are many of you who have noticed that this channel has gone down a different route. There's been a shift, okay? It's not drastic, but it's noticeable enough. I kind of started this channel based on controversy and, people yelling at each other based on their race and what's going on in this community versus that community, Hispanics versus blacks versus Latinos versus Asians. There's still some of that going on here and there, but that won't be my focus anymore. One of the reasons why it won't be my focus any longer is my opponents, my ideological opponents. They brought nothing to the table. I was basically arguing against myself. I was making decent arguments, and no one had a proper retort for what I was saying. And so every time I ran circles around them intellectually, or I destroyed any argument they present effortlessly, I felt really bad. At some point, I had to look in the mirror and say to myself,
Are you such a loser? You can't tell when you've won?
again, it's something that I had to do. I had to understand what it is that was going on because I kept beating these guys over and over and over again. And I had to ask myself,
Are you such a loser? You can't tell when you've won?
so I won. I won. They resorted to personal attacks. That's all they had in their belt. That's everything they had. Personal attacks. They had nothing else. And so I'm moving on. This looks like it's going to be strictly for the playback. Those of you who are following what's going on in comics, video games, movies, and other places of entertainment, I think you've noticed there's been a burning down of a house, right? Every one of those houses are burning right now, and you don't know where to take refuge. Video games, it started going up in smoke around 2013, 2014 with Gamergate. And then we had Comicsgate. We had Fandom Menace for the Star Wars franchise in the film areas. And now things like literature, Lord of the Rings is now racist. So there's no house that SJWs and these rabid leftists, there's no house that they've ever seen they didn't want to burn down. A little bit of this and that before I start, though. Lots of things have been going on. For example, Robert Downey Sr., the father of the man we know as Iron Man, he passed away at 85 years old. I don't know why people are still dying at 85 when we have such medical breakthroughs and knowledge about nutrition. And I don't claim to know what medical issues this man have to have kicked the bucket at 85, but I think that's pretty young. 85 is young. I want to see people live to 112, 120 years old. 85 is young for me. I don't like it. But be that as it may, my condolences to Robert Downey Jr., as if I know him, right? My condolences to him and his family and Robert Downey Sr.'s family and extended family. It must be very rough right now, you know? And other news, the president of Haiti has been assassinated. I covered this morning, seeing that I'm also Haitian. Ethnically, I'm Haitian. Nationalistically, I'm American. So I kind of covered that this morning. And some people were a little bit disappointed that I didn't, one, cover it as much as they would have liked, and two, didn't have the position that they expected me to have in reference to his assassination. I don't like that they did it, but at the same time, as a guy who wants to go back to Haiti and start businesses, this man contributed to an environment that prevented me from doing so. He added to the fomentation of corruption that's happening in Haiti. He hired and funded the arming of gangs to pursue and eliminate his political enemies. That's not good. How's that good? And so while I don't like that he's dead, I don't have a huge problem. You know what? Laissez-faire. I wash my hands of the whole thing. Just because I'm Haitian doesn't mean I have to be, foaming at the mouth at this news. You get what I'm saying? Especially seeing how what I do in private is my own business. For all you know, I may be mourning for this man in private, right? My family members are also Haitians. We might be mourning for this man in private. Doesn't mean it has to happen on this channel. This channel is not about that. This channel, I mean, it may be hard to believe, but this channel is not about politics. I think many people misunderstand what this channel is. It's pop culture seen through a cultural lens, and specifically a Black cultural lens. All right. So basically, think of it as Entertainment Weekly, right? Mixed with a little EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, right? Mixed with a little, Chappelle Show, right? Because we try to be funny here. We're not always successful, but we try to be funny. All right. What else is going on? Lots of things have been going on in the hardcore geekdom community in terms of comic books. We have Dale Keown. The great Dale Keown has joined Comicsgate because the man probably wants to pay his mortgage, probably wants to put his kids through school, probably does not want to die poor. So he has joined Comicsgate, the only place, the only chamber, the only room in the burning house that is the comic book industry. I'll come back to that word in a minute, seeing that is part of the title we have here. The only room that's insulated, let's call it a safe room, that's insulated from the burning mansion that is the comics industry, quote unquote. That room is occupied by Comicsgate in general, and Comicsgate specifically, but in general, it's occupied by independents, indies. So even someone like the maker of Lady Death, his name escapes me at the moment, but I'll, just look that up. Brian Pulido. Just got his name. The maker of Lady Death, he's indie, but he's not Comicsgate. He exists in that room as well. Remember the metaphor I had before, a couple of streams ago. The meteor's already at the skyline. It's too late for the dinosaurs. They're gone. They're done. They're gone. They're done, son. It's time for us now. A lot of alliterative language in this night's stream. Okay, so the comic book industry, as it were. So let's move on to the main topic.
We can all be some fighting motherfuckers in here this evening. Bring your ass, nigga. Bring it on. Come on. Bring your ass. Come on, get up and come on. You out of your fucking mind? Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
It's time for the main event, the main topic, which is the comic book industry and its failings, and the fact that they, or the people who are within the comic book industry, they are no longer effective when they dangle carrots in front of you as a creator. Well, if you don't, toe this line here politically, you'll never work in this industry. There is no industry. There isn't. There may have at one time been a comic book industry. It no longer exists. It's no longer there. You understand? It's no longer there. It's not viable. It doesn't even make money. Doesn't make money. In fact, when things were good, they barely made money. Some few made a killing, like Image, Dark Horse, Marvel, DC. Those people made a killing. But the rest of us, we were struggling to get by when things were really good. I'd say 90s, early 2000s, etc. Then the price of printing got a little bit cheaper. Many of the equipment that was used by the professionals that was kept insider information, those things became public domain, as in, we can purchase them, or they became free open source software like GIMP, Krita, Inkscape that you can purchase, and you can do your logos on there. You can do your pages. You can do all these different things. It equalized the playing field. They could have still survived this, the equalization of the playing field. They could have survived it. But for some reason, they got it in their minds. The quote unquote pros of the industry got it in their minds that the customer is always wrong, that they could speak to their buying clients any way they feel like it. And they would be getting on their pulpits, whether it's a live video interview or some sort of chance encounter on Instagram or Twitter, and they would interact with the fan in the most horrific ways, talking about,
and if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
it's done. No more. No more. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. That's their stance now. So let them die. Let them all die. What I wanted to actually impart to anyone who it feels like a post-apocalyptic movie, right? Where I'm on the ham radio or whatever means of communication still exists and it's still viable, and I'm like, is there anyone out there, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm keying the mic. Is there anyone out there? Is anyone listening? Anyone still alive? How are you getting by? Okay? It's important to me that we communicate. Those of us in the survival underground, that we communicate and that we know that we are the industry now. If you have a product, just listen here. And your boy Zach covered this before, but he didn't cover it in such a what do you call it? A simplistic way. I'm about to bring it here, or maybe he did. I'm not sure. He does like a trillion videos per day or per week or whatever. If you have a product, one. If you have a market, two, and you provide your product or service to that market, you are the industry. So these people who have taken these key positions in Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, IDW, and they refuse to let you in unless you jump through hoops and dance like a monkey, unless you scream Black Lives Matter, Antifa rules, man, unless you do all these different things. Orange man bad. Even though the man's been out of office, for what seems like forever now, we have Snowball Biden falling upstairs, but we're still saying orange man bad. And if you don't do these things, you're not part of the industry, and you will never be part of the industry. Well, when these pros do this, just remember, they are gone. These people, the very few of them who are speaking to you on Twitter, on Instagram, very few of them are actually making money. Those of them who are making money, they're making money outside of comics. They already have their royalty checks from when things were good. Those royalty checks are coming in, that they will never stop coming in. They're safe. But they have deals in Hollywood, on Netflix, and all these different places. And they make their money that way. Some of them have become novelists. They're no longer in comics, but they're speaking on behalf of comics to you, telling you that if you want to be in their industry, their vanishingly small or shrinking industry, that you need to become politically left. When they do this, just remember, they're gone. They're finished. You are the industry. You are. You have a product. You have a market. You are the industry. Let me walk you through some of this here. For those of you who are curious, this is what I do for a living here. I did the logo for a book called Dragon Guard, The Dragon Guard by Kevin Sharp. Kevin Sharp is one of the most prolific artists that you've never heard of. And he would have been drawing for Masters of the Universe. He would have been drawing for Thundercats, for Silverhawks, and all these different sorts of multi-genre, multi-platform brands that have been done in comics, games, movies, cartoons. He would have been drawing for those companies. The only problem is someone higher up in those companies told him, no, you're no longer invited into the club. No, we don't like your opinion. I won't mention who it is. In fact, I won't go any further. All right. This is something the man told me, semi hush hush, like, hey, don't make a huge deal about it. Because you know what? I think that he still believes that there might be hope or whatever, that these people might, lighten up and change their minds. I don't hold such hopes, but he believes it, so I'll stop right here. Anyhow, he is prolific. He is amazing. One of the best you've never heard of. Right up there with Jim Lee, Dale Keown, Mark Silvestri, and all these different people. And his name's Kevin Sharp. He has an amazing IP that's similar to, it's sort of like a mix between Conan, Masters of the Universe. Let me see if I can't get the, sort of a mix between Conan, Masters of the Universe, and Thundercats. You're looking at it on the screen right there. And his campaign, I mean, he doesn't need my help. I brought this up as an example. This is not me promoting him. He made his money. He had a product. He built his following. Therefore, he has a market. He has made his product and is now providing the product to the market. Therefore, Kevin Sharp is the industry. Another guy, he built this platform. I think his name's Clayton Barton. He built this platform by providing tutorials online for people who want to learn how to draw comics with digital software. And through that market and through that following, he has a base of people who want to buy his stuff. And thus he created an IP called Kozor. I don't know if that's an acronym or if that's like the guy's birth name, but it's an IP called Kozor. I don't think that's Kozor on the screen. I think that's a villain or maybe an anti-hero. Kozor is someone different, I think. But the IP is called Kozor. Look at that skull back there. For Pete's sake. Look at the line work. He took David Finch's rendering style and he automated it so that it can be used in a digital format. So I've seen him use, I don't know if it's Clip Art Studio or Adobe Illustrator, and he makes these lines not only fairly quickly but very precise and exact. Wonderful to see him work. And then it's also a treat to actually see the final work here. Okay, so that's another guy. He has his product. He has a market. He's providing his product to the market. He is the industry. Greg Levitre and the other Brain Cage guys, they come through here almost every night and they tell you about the world that they're building, the World War Hell, and the Brain Cage universe proper. And they told us about a stalker demon that they had called the Snatcher. And when they told us about it, it was only in concept. But now that concept art is here, done by the great Carlos Villas. And you're looking at it right now. First of all, look at the logo. As a logo designer myself, this is amazing. It looks like a logo that you would stamp on a video game. I'm the weirdo. Whenever me and my buddies went out to GameStop or, those sorts of different stores where they sold games, I would be the weirdo looking for the art of Tekken, art of Street Fighter, art of Resident Evil, art of World of Warcraft, art of, okay? And this would be something that you would see when you flip through your art of book. You'd see concept art like this, and you'd see logos. They'd have like different logos that you can probably get as stickers. So you can put on your book bag, on the bottom of your skateboard, okay? Or on your guitar case for those of you who are musically inclined. This logo looks like one of those things, you know? And as far as the design here, this is frightening. It's also very genius in its design. I love that they have grappling tentacles, and the way the legs are, it's built for speed as well as stealth. See, it's not huge lumbering feet here. This thing can probably stalk you. I don't know what the other tentacles can do if maybe they grapple for weapons and that they can throw sharp things they find on the battlefield. So imagine this thing and it has range. I don't know, but it looks frightening. And it was designed by Carlos Villas. That's part of what Brain Cage is putting out there. Not yet, actually. They're planning it so they can put it out there. There's another gentleman. I don't know if I'm clear to show this, but you can see the modeling here. Obviously, it's a cartoon character, but due to how it's formed, you can tell that if it was something realistic, he would be able to model it too. And he's part of the Brain Cage crew. So Brain Cage is out here doing comics. They're planning to do, you know what? I'm going to shut up. I'm not actually going to spoil all the things they're going to do, but believe you me, if there's an industry that interests you as a geek, most likely they're considering it. So Brain Cage has products. They damn sure have a market. Brain Cage is the industry. We have to stop thinking of these people who have hijacked our hobby and our profession. We have to stop thinking of them as the be all and end all, as the voice. They're done. They're finished. No more. This is a crossover. I don't know what the other team back there is, but that's obviously Knife Hand from Jawbreakers. And whoever drew this didn't truly understand the character. And I think Zach let it go that he allowed Knife Hand to wield pistols. I don't think that's Knife Hand's preferred method of killing. I think he uses his hands, which have been empowered by the Knife Hand. It's sort of like an Iron Fist sort of situation, but he cuts things in half with it. Sort of like if your hands were an indestructible samurai sword that can cut through anything. That's Knife Hand. And of course, he has, martial arts skills. He's agile like Daredevil, these sorts of skills and traits. Jawbreakers. I've done the logo for them. I'm doing logos for, Zach's other books, but this is one of my favorite books. Just that team shot. It circulated on Twitter for a long time, and it caused a lot of anxiety for people like Gail Simone. When this image circulated on Twitter, there was tons, partially mine as well. There were tons of fan art. And when we did this fan art, and I'm telling you, every hour, on the hour, if you had a Twitter feed, it was clogged with fan art for Jawbreakers, Cyberfrog, Red Rooster, Lone Star, Heart of a Hero. Your feed was clogged with fan art. And Gail Simone had no choice because the jealousy and envy was rising up like a Cthulhu, Lovecraft-esque tentacle monster, choking her with all the tendrils around her throat. She couldn't take it anymore. She's like, why is there no fan art for my shit? When she said this, other people provided fan art for Gail Simone's Domino. Now, the thing is, just like if you got all the players out there, if you gotta tell a motherfucker you're a player, you ain't no player. So if you gotta tell somebody to do fan art, is it really fan art? I think not. This is the environment that independent comics were fostering around 2017, 2018, and it's only gotten better, especially in the Comics Gate community. And it's bleeding over into the fandom menace. I'm seeing some fan art of possible crossovers between video game characters and comic characters, and they're being done by Comics Gate style people. And I bought art supplies. I'll probably be jumping in there to start, throwing my hat in the ring again. This is Graveyard Shift. I almost said Grave Diggers. This is Graveyard Shift by John Malin. I haven't seen art this good since, I don't know, Brian Hitch, Mark Silvestri, Tony Daniel, Jay Fabok, Brian Hitch, unless I said him already. All right. I haven't seen art this good, Greg Capullo. I haven't seen art this good in a while. And this is if you look at the image, second from the left, it's the dreaded butt and tit pose, the TNA pose that SJWs dread and they hate it. First of all, where are her organs? And second, why you have like a butt shot and a titty shot on the same? What's a spinal cord made of? Who cares? It's fiction. Why don't you focus all that ire on your real life? Look at more artwork here. All the stuff that I'm bringing up here is from the independent circuit. These ain't your daddy's indies, man. Let me actually access the panel here. Actually, I think I only sent one link out. So I guess me and Greg, we're the panel. Greg, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's happening? How's everyone doing?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. And anyone in the chat room, go ahead and let them. Oh, Tank Ferret. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second here. Let me send him a link.
I sent out a bunch of.
Okay, so he probably.
I sent a bunch of links, so I figure we should have some other guests on sometime soon.
No, but I mean, I don't know if we'll stay on long enough because again, we have things to do. Remember, I've been meaning to head out there and get some art supplies. Remember that? Yeah. I finally did that. I got all my art supplies. I'm almost done with setting up the studio properly so that I can start pumping out. I'm seeing a lot of fan art and also artwork in general, establishing all these wonderful universes for indie comics. And I want to get my hat in the ring, man. That stuff looks too good, way too good. And so that's another thing that people don't understand, that when you see someone doing very good work, like when they see, you mean to tell me people will look at this and not be inspired, especially someone like me who's into things like Resident Evil and the Cthulhu mythology. This is right up my alley, man. I don't know what Carlos Villas and yourselves were thinking, but this is right up my alley.
Well, I can tell you. I can tell you what we were thinking. That right there is a trapper demon. Now, something about our demons is they're actually genetically engineered creatures. And so they're created for specific tasks, most of them for warfare. And what you have here is a trapper demon. What these things do is they go and snatch up civilians, humans, basically. Like if they're raiding Earth, for example, if that's the planet they're invading, these trappers go in, those tentacles lash out, snatch the people, and basically pull them right on like they're riding on basically a chair right there, and the tentacles wrap around them like a constrictor, like a boa constrictor, and just hold them in place. And they take them back. They drag them back to the demon's front, their base of operations, where these humans are turned into drones.
Okay, basically beefing up their numbers as well as taking out the opposition all in one fell swoop. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yep.
Fantastic. Something like that is not only frightening, but it's effective. And it's one of these things that it will inspire others. This will inspire others. Obviously, someone who's into, let's say, Resident Evil will totally be into this, as I am. one of my favorite franchises is the Resident Evil franchise, and one of my favorite installment is Resident Evil 5 when they go to Africa because of all the tentacle monsters that were there. And you know, this is right up my alley, the Stalker Demon. It's one of the things where I want to draw these now, and I want to do fan art and come up with soldiers that can probably take it down, or it can terrorize these soldiers who have like World War II-esque body armor that they fashion from stripped down tanks and all these different sources.
Mhm.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
It really
And-
is. Oh man, being a part of it it's excitement every day. Dan, like today, Dan sent me the message, and he said he told us all yesterday that he had the design for the Trapper Demon. Maybe it was a couple days ago, coming soon from Carlos. So that's been in the back of my mind the last few days. I'm like, oh, we're going to get to see a new Carlos design. And today when I woke up, I did like over a 24-hour shift yesterday working on shit. And so I fucking slept hard today. And then when I got up today, the first thing I saw was a message from Dan with the images. And
Yeah.
oof.
Best part
Every
of waking
time.
up is not only Folgers in your cup anymore, huh?
Fuck Folgers. That's the reason why this stuff is turning out as well as it is we put a lot of care into it. We put a lot of give a shit into it. We've got a design and development process in place now. We've been working with Carlos for about a good 7-8 months now, I think, designing characters with him. It took us probably a good 4 or 5 months to get the entire process down really smooth to where basically it's he kind of knows what what we're gonna, I don't know, what we want more so. Like, we get into really big detail, especially Daniel Fogarty, the creator of World War Hell. He has, honestly, he's got the mind of a Clive Barker type. I mean, he's just absolutely these monsters. Like, he has quite a few that didn't make it into this World War Hell. And he's got designs for some of them, and they're not going to make it into the story, but they're going to be in the next series that he launches, which I believe is going to be entitled Blitzkrieg and the Hellions.
Okay.
Which it's after World War Hell, and it follows, it follows Blitzkrieg and them as they try to play cleanup around the world where the demons are still, spreading around and doing things. They're experts at killing demons.
Cool.
So, but anyway, there's so much planned, and a lot of the work for me as co-developer and co-writer and an editor is I've had to streamline it more. That's a lot of the work I've had to do because he has endless ideas every day. Bam, 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 bam. He drives me nuts. And I'm not exaggerating. He drives me nuts. But I wouldn't want to work with anybody else. He just wow, man, it's just so much. He overwhelms me because I'm thinking of all these different products that we have in development, and I'm currently making a video game right now too that I'm personally making myself, and I'm also writing Gun Demon. I'm writing Celerity the Huntress, co-developing World War Hell, and some of the other titles. So, plus our superhero team that we have in development right now, I'm really excited about. In fact, one of the characters out of that team I'm really connecting with, and I'm thinking I want to personally do a series of that character, solo series, because I'm really getting into him. That's what I told you about. I'm not releasing any information yet about.
Okay.
But I sent you the short story and all that, the character study and all that on that character. I really want to do a series on him. He's really fucking cool. The more I write him, the more we develop. Just the cooler he gets. But got all this shit going on in my head. So then Dan jumps in Discord, and he's at work. He works in the medical field, and he works with EMSs, right, side by side with them, and EMTs. I'm sorry, and they tell him about these horror stories. He has to clean up these horrible aftermaths of all kinds of bad things, murders, whatever. He cleans up all this different stuff he has to do, and he's got all this horror that he's absorbing all the time, and this is his outlet. And my God, these demons. One of them, like every way you can think of that people have a phobia of dying associated with, he has a demon that specializes in killing somebody that way.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Cool.
got a suffocator. He's got one that injects their body, injects you with this acid toxin that then goes through and liquefies your bone.
Oh, wow.
And then it slurps your bone out. It drinks your bone marrow like in liquid form. And it's just shit like that. I'm sitting
Wow.
here. I mean, he throws this shit at me on a daily basis, Bob. And I'm you know those memes where it says absolutely nobody, and then it says so and so does this or that. I'm sitting there usual day. I'm sitting there doing my thing, and then he pops in. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, I was thinking, got this demon that like it waits until people has sex, and then it fucking takes their heads and like shoves it into another's asshole, and then fucking blah 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 blah, and then eats them. And I'm going, whoa. Dude, visuals, man. What the fuck? God damn. But that's a great idea. But still,
Pretty much.
I was exaggerating. He doesn't come up with ridiculous stuff like that. They're actually good ideas, but it's horrific and disgusting, repulsive. And him and I agreed early on the project, we didn't want it to be a complete gore fest. There would have to be, there's got to be gore in some scenes because the scenes will absolutely call for it.
Yeah.
But we don't want it to be a gore fest. I prefer the George Lucas method, like with the original Star Wars trilogy.
Okay.
Where you've got these dark themes, and it is scary and horrific at times, and deep atmosphere and all that stuff. But at the same time, like you got guys like, for example, in the cantina in Mos Eisley, dude gets his arm hacked off. And for just a second, you see the arm laying there. That's the goriest that, George got in that movie.
Yeah.
That was, but he had to pound home what a lightsaber does to a body, because that's the first time any of us ever saw a lightsaber in use. So he had to establish how powerful this weapon is and how good Obi-Wan is with it, so that you start seeing, wait, there's more to this guy. He's not just some old hermit. This is an interesting. This guy can hold his own in a hive of wretched scum and villainy. Yeah. So that's more of the method. Like if we're going to show you gore, it's because the scene needs it, the story needs it, not because we want to shock you or be like, look how fucking hardcore we are, guys. We're so badass. We're going to throw some titties in too, just for the fun of it, because we're metal. We're rock and roll, guys. That it's more of a rock thing, I think. That shock value rock. It's more of a hip hop kind of mentality. I'm more of a progressive metal guy. It's more substance over flash, I think, but I like some flash too. And I think prog metal, more so as an analogy, is substance and flash married together, I should say. And that's what we're going for. This stuff is impressive looking, but there's story behind these characters. The characters have personalities. I can hear them all speaking in my head as a writer when I write their dialogue. So they're real to me, like as much as people from my past I haven't seen for many years, but I can still imagine their voices and their facial expressions when they laugh and things like that. And so they're really coming to life. We've put so much work into it. So what's going to be really fun for us, we've tried to hire, we've tried to work with other writers, but see, we're just in the startup. And we're all creative types. So we're not as organized as a publishing company needs to be. We won't be there probably for another 6 months, I'm going to have to estimate at this stage of the game. We need money to get further, So we've got various products. We're launching different product campaigns, including the comic books, of course. I've got multiple NES games releasing soon. I'm going to have those campaigns going on. We'll have one at a time, of course, but and some other products that we've got, the STL file campaigns that Tank is currently sculpting in VR. He's sculpting the models for, and he did all the R&D on him and Spyco, put months of R&D into it. And so we've got all these products we're getting ready to launch. They should bring us some good capital, at least decent capital, to be able to get to the next level we need to get to. And so then
one project funds the other, one hand washes the other, that sort of thing.
Not so much that way. What we're basically doing is we have streamlined all of our production so that we are launching projects that are viable to launch with very little money, but lots of talent, because we have talent in spades. We have no end to the different levels, different types of talent in this team. So essentially, we're using that to try to make the money, just like somebody would do if they're an excellent carpenter and they find out that there is a current need for dressers, you know, right. 4 foot high dressers or whatever, something like that. So now they're going to craft some beautiful 4 foot high dressers, make that money. But then now they can go and start building the other carpentry things that they really want to be producing, that they've designed.
Yeah.
You know? All of this.
I feel you.
That would be like, that would be, I guess, an analogy if this was one person. But and if we weren't so much into the dresser, but in this case, we're into all of these products too.
Yeah.
So it's just as fun for us to be making these miniatures and these video games and all this stuff as it is the comic books and and all that. So as long as we're having fun and it's exciting to us every day, like it is, or at least regularly, we will produce and be very highly productive. And so I've built everything around us, just maintaining that excitement, everybody being in pretty much as good a mood as we can be in. I mean, it's not like a fake positivity thing where it's like, everybody's going to be happy. You know, it's we deal with shit. We talk some real talk. We you know, we're adults. We deal with negative issues, you know, and things just like anyone in there. But the main thing is we don't let it distract too much from our productivity, you know. Somebody will be like, man, I just had a really shitty day today. This shit broke down. My fucking boss was a dickhead at my day job, this and this and that. You know, and somebody will vent for a couple minutes and be like, all right, well, that's out of the way. What are we working on? You know? And that's pretty much how we roll. It's into work. Everybody will be like, oh, that sucks, dude. Sorry to hear that. Well, check this out. This will brighten your day. Look at this new Carlos Vias design, you know? And that's how we keep it going. We all manage that. We all manage the excitement and the fun by actively not shitting on it, and by continuously producing content. And that's why I was telling you I want to start being on this stream much less, so that I can. Because some of those days, dude, I think we did 8 hours, 10-hour streams.
Yeah. No more of that.
And,
in fact, this is going on for 42 minutes. We're cutting it off at around 45 minutes.
Okay. You know? Well, I was just going to say, you know, it's good to do that once in a while. Have those long streams. You're going to hit people at different time zones. People get off work or going to work at different times. But, you know, it's like I look at all these guys out there streaming constantly, and I wonder how productive they are, because I see how very non-productive I am on the days when I really put all that time into streaming. It's a real job. It's draining. It's tiring. It drains a person. So there's a balance I think people need to find as indie creators. Streaming is important, very much, very important to the whole thing. But if you don't have a product, you know, if you don't have the content generated, what are you promoting?
Exactly. Like, see, I can do that. You guys can't do that. That's why I offer my platform. You guys can jump on. I'll do the heavy lifting in terms of, you know, I set up all the clips to make it funny, and, you know, all the images to make it relevant. You know, I set up the time and the date and all that stuff. Then you guys just show up. After you've expended your energy either writing in your case and planning and strategizing, or drawing in their case, or designing in Carlos Vias' case, or whatever. And you guys can just come on there, promote your wares, and then when you feel like leaving, you can leave, right? Because currently I'm not promoting anything personally, so I don't have a reason to not stream daily. I mean, I bought new art supplies. I'm going to start. So now I'll have a reason to not stream daily. However, people forget that this is a job. This streaming thing, it is a job. So I treat it like a job. I get up, I go take care of what I got to take care of, shower, shave, etc. Take care of other things around the, you know, the environment. I come back and I stream, you know, in the morning. You know, what's going on in Twitter land, you know, what's going on in Instagram, what's going on in modern pop culture, what's going on in the news. I tweet, I stream about it. Or maybe in the case of what I've been doing the last couple of, you know, weeks, and it hasn't shown yet. But in those cases, I'll make a video about it, which I'm editing currently, right? But this is a job, and for the next 90 days, I have to pretty much stream almost daily for the next 90 days in order to make this a platform worth you guys coming on here. You get what I'm saying? Because
I sure do.
right now, don't get me wrong, those of you who are here, I appreciate every single one of you. But a 200-person sub platform won't really do that much or as much as we want it to. I need for the platform to grow. So while you're here, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. If you're on any social media platform, I need you to go ahead, share a link to this stream, share a link to this channel, and I need you to come back with a friend or 2 or 10 or 20. Let's grow this platform, okay? Currently, we're at 190, something like that, subs. We need to get this to 500. Can we get to 500 subs? If we get to 500 subs, that's more brains in the room. That's more people giving feedback. That's more ruckus, more metal, right? More for those of you in my community, that shit is more gangster. Let's get more people in the room, okay? 500. Get us to 500. That way, not only that, but YouTube will finally start to take BroTap and the Negro Nerd Network seriously. Currently, we're a joke. I know I meant for us to be kind of funny, ha, because it was lighthearted. We bring a smile to your face. If you had a rough day, you tune into BroTap and the Negro Nerd Network. But we're not meant to be funny as in, ha, these guys ain't about nothing, okay? So that's what YouTube regards us as right now. Right this second, we're nobody. But if you guys can help us get to 500 subs, or maybe even 1,000 subs, then YouTube will have no choice but to take us seriously, and our voice is your voice, okay? And our voice, mine and yours, it's cracking right now. Let me take a swig of water here, okay? Now, the other thing I wanted to actually say was we are starting to do more recorded content and be on the lookout for that. So not only will we be doing streaming, but we'll be doing recorded content as well, right? So tell a friend. And if you're on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, spread a link to this platform, right? So that being said, I'm going to cut this short so that I can actually go and do some artwork. Greg can actually go and write. Funny story. When I took a workshop in near NYU, it wasn't NYU proper, but I took a workshop around that general area for writing. And it's recommended that artists do that sometimes so that they get an insight into what a writer's thinking, right? So I took a workshop, and day in and day out in this workshop, whenever it was scheduled, these people come in, and the teacher looked like he was getting very frustrated with the students, because when the students come in there, they were all Hollywood, talking about who Gwyneth Paltrow sleeping with now and what Brad Pitt is doing, and is Kevin Hart gonna blah 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 blah. Anything but writing. And they'd be going to these parties that mimicked, like one of them would throw a party and it would kind of mimic those Hollywood parties, right? They'd be standing around with a beer in one hand, a cig in the other, leaning up against the wall, talking about blah, 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 all these different things. And so the teacher, he tried to get them to do something, and they wouldn't. And so he said, you know what? Meet us on Saturday. It's a gathering. It will be a gathering with an important message from me. It will be a gathering with an important message from me. And so he gave a time and date and whatever, and they showed up. We showed up. And on the wall next to the door, the note read, "You should be home writing." Okay? That's what he did. He didn't lie. The man didn't lie. It was a gathering of all of us with an important message from him. And that message was, you should be home writing. Okay? If it was an artist workshop, I'm sure the art instructor would be like, you should be home drawing. So I guess the moral of that story is we should be spending more time with our, in our craft, and slightly less time with all this promotional stuff. In fact, it might be a good idea to split the teams where you have a promotional team and an art team. Just putting that out.
I was going to cover that actually. Brain Cage now has a professional marketing team with years of experience now that's working with us and fully believes in the products. That's going to be a huge help. And that's another thing. I spit out this different advice on here, and so far, everybody, when you're hearing this advice, take it as a grain of salt, with a grain of salt, because obviously my shit's not even launched yet, so I'm not sitting here thinking like I know everything. What I do know, I learned from those who do it, those who make a living doing it. And there are some things that have changed, the way that the industry has changed, like with the crowdsourcing and different things like that. But a lot of the old methods of marketing and sales still absolutely work. If you're really serious, guys, get out there, hire people who know what the fuck they're doing with marketing. My pre-launch page looks okay. My Gun Demon pre-launch page, I put it together. I think it looks okay. I showed the head of the marketing team. He said, "Oh, this is all shit. I gotta change all of this." I mean, the stuff's written well, it's worded well, but it's bad placement, bad this and that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get butthurt. I don't ever get butthurt when somebody's professionally critiquing my work or anything. Right. I said, I just listened. I shut up. That's another thing a lot of people need to learn. It's time. There are times to shut the fuck up and listen to the pro. Listen to the guy that you're, that's the expert that you brought on, because he or she has that expertise. Shut up and listen to him. And he explained to me why they were bad placements and everything like that. And I was like, holy shit, man, he's going to improve, all of this, all of our promotional work, 150%. Cool. It's just, and I think about all those guys out there. Like, I've got a decent background in marketing and promotion, and quite an extensive one in sales, unfortunately. Well, I guess it's fortunate now because I'm putting those skills to use these days, but I have something worth selling now. But, working for corporations as a salesman isn't very satisfying usually, unless you're selling a good product, something worth, anyways, long story short, I've got those, but at the same time, even with all that experience, in about 10 seconds, somebody with, significant marketing experience as their full-time profession broke down everything I did and made it, and broke it out into how it looks amateur, and like the presentation is amateur. And I instantly saw exactly what he was talking about. So just imagine those out there, which is, I'm going to have to guess, most creators who don't have a background at all in marketing and sales, because a lot of these guys are young even, so they even lack a lot of life experience in general, and networking experience and things like that. But imagine them without that experience, plus without a marketing team. You're on your own. Why do these guys want to be on their own? I think I understand if you have the money to be, so you can just outright hire and get what you need and whatever. That's one way to go about it, I guess. But most of these creators do not seem to be rich people. A lot of them are people like me from the Midwest. We've got big dreams, fucking barely any money. We're barely paying bills, barely eating. But all of our money outside of bills goes into what we love, and what we're doing.
Exactly.
So, it's another thing too, is commitment. When it's like, I see an attitude going around Comicsgate and indies, mostly Comicsgate though, I see, where if somebody says, I'm going to produce this product or that product, and it's like a higher end product, like an action figure or something like that. Even something as trivial as a t-shirt, people always go, almost always the response is, "Oh, you shouldn't try to have that kind of merch till your third or fourth campaign, because you have to build your support base." Well, I get that. There is logic there. It's practical. But how are you going to build your support base without showing people what you've got?
Yeah.
What's your vision? how committed are you to that vision? You know, is this just a? Do you think Comicsgate, Indie Comics, is a get rich quick scheme? You're going to jump in, put out a book, and get like fucking 200 grand, and then you're set. You know, one graphic novel and you're all set. No, it's not. It's not. Especially now, there might have been that kind of thing before. I don't know if that's for new creators coming in. I'm not sure how much of a reality that's going to be, right?
Yeah.
If they're following the same traditional formula that everybody else is following right now in the community, but you have to build your model around your product and your IP. Everybody's books are different. All of the characters, the stories, even ones that are similar genres, similar kinds of characters, they're all still different in a lot of ways. So why try to produce the same product as everybody else in your community, like same size book, this and that, or try to like.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I was thinking about that because there's a comic that I bought one time. It was a Marvel one. It was a comic printed sideways. So like imagine the vertical comic that you buy and then you flip it sideways and that's how it opens up. And it was an X-Men one drawn by Francis Leniel Yu. And you know, one of the best books I've ever read, and it was you read it sideways. It was a long stretch. It looked like every page looked like a cinematic story. You know what I mean? Because it was widescreen. That was pretty cool. So when he did splash pages, he had you know, especially if he did a double splash page, he had these long vistas. You know what I mean? It was really cool. And I haven't seen that in Comicsgate yet, but you know, I wouldn't be averse to trying something like that for, you know, something I do like later on down the line, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. What's that? What's that IP you have?
FarQuest?
FarQuest. I love
Yeah.
that brand. I really do. I feel like
thanks.
if you put that through our designers and give it a little bit of a makeover, this could be one of the best fucking IPs out there, dude. This is sick. I love the concept. I love the even the brand. The brand is awesome. FarQuest. That's really cool.
I mean, I looked and there's a British space association with that name, but it's not in the same context as a comic book. So, you know, I should be safe. I think they like they chart the stars through telescopes or something like that. But that's as much as I've seen from that name. So I went ahead and I started making the IP.
I like it. I really
thanks,
do.
man.
What you've got there's that's a really great start.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, well, what would you guys give me a second? Let me reboot this StreamYard. Give me 1 second.
What's going on? Rebooting? Hello? Oh, you guys can hear me? That's funny. He kind of confused me a little bit. All right, we're still live. Yeah, I thought he said he was rebooting the stream there. That's fucking hilarious. That's a good time to take a 420 break. Everybody's out there working hard, you know, and just trying to get by and trying to survive the globalist threat. And why don't we all just take this moment right now to breathe in, exhale, and then hit the pipe and just enjoy some nice, delicious green organic cannabis. And just let all those worries exhale out through the smoke. Let's just do that. You want to do that with me? We'll have a Bob Ross little moment here. There we go. All right. Yeah, much better. Yeah. So, there was something I wanted to talk about anyway. We got on a different topic here. I've got a reveal coming up very soon. I'm going to have my Gun Demon action figure here really soon. I just got the image. It looks like the final image of the prototype. So I'm going to be showing that off just in time for me to launch the campaign. So that's something I'm really excited about right now. These are the kind of things we're doing in Brain Cage. We got all these different products in development, and you know, every day is a new type of excitement. I kind of look around at people doing day jobs they hate and things like that, and I kind of feel bad for them because they haven't found their way yet. You know, they haven't found their thing yet where they really enjoy doing and that they can actually make a living at. And it really is a huge improvement over your life. You know, it is worth it. It is worth all the work. I haven't made a cent yet. And my girlfriend and I have been putting all our money outside of bills into this for a year and a half or so. You know, sometimes we don't have freaking food in the kitchen, but you know, we got this, we're committed to this thing and we want it to be awesome. You know, we want it to be the best it can be, and things cost money. You know, that's something that I'm at 47. At 47 years old, I'm just now getting started finally into into an entertainment career after decades of trying to, simply just because of how difficult it is to survive, you know, in general anyways, you know, and I know billions out there on the planet are struggling every single day, worrying about how they're going to feed their kids that day and things like that. Many worrying about where they're going to sleep each day, which I've been through that as well. You know, I was homeless while managing a Family Dollar store one time, and was working as the head cook in a high end wine bar and Italian bistro, and you know, just completely homeless. You know, while I was doing these things, and you do what you got to do to survive. And you know, when it comes down to having money to put into it, it's almost impossible. You know, it's almost impossible to launch a business or anything like that. And I've been looking for many years.
StreamYard.
You know, he's back. There you are.
Damn StreamYard, man. I don't know what the hell. He is Captain Now.
That was hilarious, dude. I was sitting here for about probably 30, 40 seconds. And I didn't know we were live still.
Oh.
I thought it was restarting, and I'm like, is it going to reset? He said he was restarting the stream or something. What's he doing?
Yeah, what's going on here? But yeah, you know, now that we're here, it's a perfect time. We've been streaming for an hour. I want to cut this short so that it's nice digestible size for people who are surfing this page, because we're diversifying. We're diversifying the content here on Brotep and the Negro Nerd Network. So with that, I bid all of you adieu.
Adieu.
Yeah.